everyone, and welcome to Casual Experts Only. Today I have a guest with me, Zach. He was on in our last episode, the Oscars episode we did together, and yeah, I have not been super on top of uploading, so this is the unceremonious first episode of season 3 of. Oh, nice cup, nice cup. Yeah, in case if you're not watching on YouTube. Zach just held up a Vault Tech cup. And so, yeah, we are talking about the Fallout series that came out on Prime. I think it was 2 weeks ago now, exactly from today when we were recording this. And also today is when the updated,
Next gen update,
yeah,
came
for
out today.
Fallout 4 is coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my background with Fallout, I've played like a little bit here and there, but I know you're way more up on the lore and everything. Like, have you played pretty much all of them or?
I've tried playing the originals. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah,
they
but
haven't
they're
aged poorly, but
completely different.
they're just not my type of game.
Yeah.
I know the story behind them though, and I know like
Or
the
the
lore and everything, but I
right.
haven't played those. I played
Okay.
3 New Vegas, 4
Okay.
and 76.
Okay, gotcha. See, I've played part of most of them. I've played like several hours of Fallout 3, but not like I didn't complete it. Fallout 4, I played with my friend like forever ago,
Yeah.
and I mean New Vegas 4. I started playing recently, but I kind of stopped because I was waiting for the next gen update. So I played a little bit of 4 before and during the show. And I plan on finishing it, but I was waiting till the next gen update came out
Yeah.
to really get into it again. But yeah, before we break down the show, start talking about all that, I did just want to mention real quick the Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 re-releases in theaters because apparently, at least for like them being out for like one day, apparently everyone's saying that they made a decent amount of money. Last or a week before this past Monday, Spider-Man came out and it made $681,000, which is not very much for a new movie, but I guess for like a
Yeah.
re-release for one night's a lot. But then
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 made 805,000, which is yeah, like almost 1,500
I'm not
more than the
shocked
first part.
by
Me neither. Did you see the first one or just
I
Spider-Man
didn't
2?
get a chance to see the
Okay.
first one, but I got a chance to see the second one. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
see the third one next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna see all the Raimi ones. I don't know if I'm gonna see because I saw the Two Amazings and all the Tom Holland, the MCU ones. I already
Mhm.
saw them all in theaters.
Yeah,
The
same.
Raimi ones are ones I never saw in theaters because I was like too young. Like I'm assuming you
Yeah,
had
same for
neither.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember when Spider-Man 3 came out because I was 4 years old and I remember that
Yes.
year so vividly.
Yeah.
So vividly.
Yeah.
Because I had my birthday that year and I got a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man themed stuff, one. But
Oh
I
yeah.
wanted to go see Spider-Man 3 so bad, but
Yeah.
my parents wouldn't let me because Venom was too scary.
Yeah, yeah. I saw so yeah, when it came out, it was 2007. I was like 8, and my mom wouldn't let me go see it because it was like too violent or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, which is kind of dumb because I already saw the other two, but I don't know, for some reason this one was more violent apparently.
Yeah.
But then like when it came out on DVD, I was hanging out in my dad's office and my dad just came in with like a portable DVD player and he had like bought the DVD and he's like, watch this.
Oh,
And
that's
I
awesome.
was like, yes. Yeah, so that, but never saw it on a huge screen, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that next week. But yeah, enough Spider-Man. Let's get into Fallout. So before we break down, like each episode, let's just, what are your thoughts of about the show as a whole?
Beautifully executed, super well done. They do not hurt the overarching lore of the
Yeah,
series like
yeah.
that. Nothing that I noticed damages it to like a crazy extent. There's like one or
Hmm.
two things that might be like it's a little,
Sure.
but like other than that, there's nothing like
Okay.
groundbreaking. And like I thought it was a perfect adaptation if you're gonna take Fallout, which is a game series that like each game has its own individual story.
Mm-hmm.
I think making the show also its own individual
Yeah.
story like a game was a pretty smart idea instead of just
Yeah.
branching off of something that people already loved.
I agree. And I think it you usually when people do that with games and adaptation and they set it like kind of in the universe, but not, but like not like
Yeah,
adapting the actual game story, it doesn't work so well. I feel like it works really well with this because
because every
like
game is different.
every
So
game
I
is
mean,
different. Like there's so much lore, such an expansive world.
yeah,
The problem with other games that have other like game adaptations that have tried to do this, like Assassin's Creed did something similar where they just like the Assassin's Creed movie technically takes place in the world of the games, but they
yeah,
just made a new character for no reason and all this other stuff.
yeah,
So it would have been more interesting because those games are very narrative driven.
yeah.
So it would have made more sense to just adapt the actual characters that were in the games, But
No, I
so,
agree.
but yeah. So I think most of the time when people try to just do like a game that's kind of a spin-off or a show that's kind of a spin-off of the game or a movie, it doesn't really work. But this worked very well, like you said. Like what are the like supposed retcons people are saying or things that within
Uh,
the lore?
I think all right. So the last one about New Vegas, I'll just
Mm.
wait till we get to the
Okay,
end.
yeah. Well,
But
till we get to the last episode, yeah.
the Enclave being destroyed. No,
Okay.
The Enclave was destroyed in Fallout 2, but it was just their main base of operations. I'm getting really annoyed because why does everyone think the entire Enclave was in one spot when the
Yeah.
base was destroyed?
Uh-huh.
No, because so people are upset about that because the
Okay.
Enclave seems to still be a big faction
Okay.
even though like they were destroyed, but the Enclave is also in Fallout 3, and the Enclave is
Mm.
also like literally today with the next gen update, they were added into Fallout 4 with their own quest.
Oh, okay,
So
interesting.
it's like it is established that the Enclave does exist outside of its like quote
Right.
unquote destruction in Fallout 2.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
But I think it was just the scale of the facility where I mean we'll talk about it in the first episode, but where you
Mm.
see the scientist.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, like, you obviously have a better grasp of the lore than I do. Yeah, but from everything I knew about the lore, like, very rudimentary knowledge, it seemed very authentic to me, especially aesthetically. Like, the
Hmm.
vaults look
Oh
great.
yeah.
The suits look awesome. The pit boys look perfect. The power armor, awesome. Like,
Aesthetically, everything was like right
oh
on
yeah.
point.
Yeah, yeah. It was very good. And like a lot of it seemed very practical. They like whatever was special effects, CGI, they like blended pretty perfectly with the special
Yeah,
effects, which was
yeah,
great.
and I'm especially glad about the power armor being
Yes.
full like that. It's real.
Yeah, it's
That's
like fully practical.
full. Yeah, it's fully practical, which
Yeah.
is super awesome because like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, they
It,
could have
it,
just
it
taken the
is.
easy route and CGI'd it, but they went
Yeah.
hard and just like built like multiple suits
Uh-huh. And
of this
it
power
does
armor.
make it feel more real, especially when it interacts
Yeah.
with like actual like human actors.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was very cool. And I think as someone I feel like somebody who's not super up on the lore could easily watch this show. And
Oh,
like
100%.
as once they like wrap their head around this being this weird 1950s future that with the big explosions and all that stuff. I think once the like I feel like people can who don't know anything about the games can really jump into this show, which I think that's kind of the perfect balance you need to strike with a video game adaptation, like please the fans as much as you can while also like making it open to people who aren't necessarily fans of the game that can still get into it and enjoy the story.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I
no,
think they did a good job with that.
it's very accessible because I mean like
Mm-hmm.
all you didn't need to know anything going
No,
into it. All you
no,
like literally everything that you need to know really
yeah,
is explained in like in the opening. It's literally
right,
explained in the opening, which is boom, big bomb drops,
yeah,
the world ends. Now we're in like the vaults after the world ends. And
mm-hmm.
like I
Yeah,
mean it's pretty
exactly.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, they did a good job explaining things. Like I feel people who knew the game lore would like knew pretty much the main stuff. I feel like they
Yeah.
reiterated it for people who didn't, you know,
Yeah.
know the games. But yeah, so let's jump into episode 1 here. So episode 1, the end. This was obviously just kind of the introduction to everything, but I think they did a really solid job introducing all the characters really well. Like obviously I think that Lucy kind of got most of the spotlight in the first
Mhm.
episode, but I think they introduced Lucy, Maximus, and Cooper slash the Ghoul really well. Like opening
Yeah.
scene, like you sent that text that
Yeah.
of you with that video, yeah. That just really well done. Like, to be honest, for a split second, like they did such a good job making it feel like 50s esque. I kind of forgot that it's supposed to be like 2077 or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
for a second, I'm like, oh, it's the 1950s. I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's not. Um,
Retro future.
yeah, I feel like, and we'll get into this more later, but I still feel like we didn't get to see necessarily how Cooper got there, like doing parties with his
Yeah.
daughter, because
Yeah.
is yeah,
I think that's something that they'll explain in season
I
2.
think so too. Yeah,
Because they kind of, I mean, I think we should save that for the end
yeah,
because I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
we can
yeah.
explain that at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that like cold opener, or whatever you want to call it, where it was just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, it's a nice little party. But if you know the story of the games, like, shit's gonna go down.
You know what's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
yeah.
The thing that got me though is that it wasn't like, like, you obviously know going into the show it's gonna happen. Fallout
Hmm.
4 does the same thing. But
Yeah,
with
very
Fallout
similar.
4, it's just like, oh, we have confirmed nuclear detonations in
Yeah.
like Pennsylvania and stuff. And it was just like, so then you're like, oh, now the bombs are dropping. You have enough time
Hmm.
to get to the vault and then the bomb drops.
Yeah.
The thing with the TV show is I'm sitting there and like everything seems calm and
Hmm.
like they're watching Grognak the Barbarian on TV.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's just a bright flash. And then that's what made
Yeah.
me go like, I was like, oh, okay, we're
Yeah.
actually getting into it. Because I honestly believed the beginning would be longer exposition
Oh, okay. Yeah.
before the Great War, and then it would
Right.
actually like and then they would be like, oh, bombs are falling now, and then it would happen. But I guess I was wrong.
I think as soon as he was telling his daughter like the thumb thing, I was like, yeah, in like 5 seconds the bomb's gonna go off.
Yeah, I
I
think I
just
was too
felt
focused
that.
on everything else going on. I was
Right. I
just
mean, there was
like,
a lot. Like they shoved in as much like lore and Easter egg stuff in each scene as
yeah,
they could. But yeah, like that, like beginning with all the explosions, like when you really saw the nuclear warheads going off, that was like insane. Like they did a really good
yeah,
job with that, building the
yeah.
tension with that.
I also think one thing that is really cool about Fallout is it's like,
Hmm.
I mean, like the retro future is unrealistic, obviously, because we're living in 2024 and like we have
Right.
a way advanced technology than they did,
Yeah.
like in regards to like computers and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, because the microchip was never invented in that world, is
yeah,
the idea. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like but it's realistic. It's something
Hmm.
that could happen. It's like
Right.
not maybe not like the stuff after like ghouls and stuff, but the prospect of a nuclear war is
Yes.
realistic. And
Right.
I think that's what captivates me really with the series.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I feel like the retro thing, like I think it works really well after all of the,
Yeah.
Fallout, where
Yeah.
like everything's like degraded and everything. I think it just works really well and feels like the ambiance of it is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole introduction where you like see Lucy in the vault and how the vaults work and everything, I think they did such a good job. And I think the game kind of does this too, where everything feels all bright and cheery and wholesome.
Yeah.
And then once like violence happens, you're like taken aback, like, oh crap. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was serious, but like once things started to happen, like, people getting slaughtered and all that stuff, I was like, oh, that's right. This is a
Yeah,
pretty,
that's Fallout 3. That's Fallout 3's opening, yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. This is mature. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not like I was not expecting the, what are they called? The Ravagers or something?
Raiders.
Raiders. I was not expecting them to be the like pretending to be the Vault 32 people.
Yeah. I won't lie, I did see it coming
Mhm.
when they opened the door and I saw them and they
Yeah.
were all like dirty and
Yeah.
stuff. I was just like, I was
That's
like,
fair,
those are
yeah.
just, I was like, those are raiders. I was like, they
Yeah.
have to be.
Yeah.
But then like they kept going on about how just like, oh, I've received your telegrams
Mhm.
and stuff. So I was like, they must have been talking. So like,
Right.
but yeah, it was weird. It was not weird, but it was like I could tell. But the thing is like it's a common trope in Fallout lore, in New
Mhm.
Vegas, in Fallout 3. I'm pretty sure even in Fallout 4, raiders take over vaults.
Oh.
So I was just
Yeah, you're
like,
just like this
I was
is
like, raiders took over Vault 32. That's how we're gonna start. So and
mhm.
I ended up being right, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, so I didn't know enough to like think about like the the Raiders. It was obvious
Also the scars and
yeah, I
stuff.
mean there was obviously something weird and messed up going on like in Vault 32, but I didn't expect the Raiders to just pop out and start slaughtering everybody, which I think that
Yeah,
whole thing was done really well. Like it was just yeah.
I think everything really clicked for me was
Mhm.
at the dinner scene was when
Mm,
it was like panning across and I saw all their heads and I was like, yeah, they're
yeah.
definitely raiders because
Okay.
they're all scarred up and I was like, that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense for vault dwellers.
Right, right. Yeah, I thought it was yeah, I think that whole introduction with that and them taking her dad, the overseer Hank, that was all done very well and just kind of like really set the stage well. Um,
Yeah.
and I thought it was funny too, just when I can't remember if this is episode 1 or 2. I think it might be 2, but like they capture, the remaining raiders, and Norm and some of the other people are like, yeah, they murdered our people, we should kill them. And
Yeah.
the other people are like, no, we should rehabilitate them. They whatever,
Yeah.
it was
I can teach them Shakespeare. I
right.
think Shakespeare would be a little too advanced for
Yeah.
them, one of them says or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was good.
One thing when the raiders
Mm,
were capturing Hank,
yeah.
they like lined all the rest of the survivors up, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And like put a bomb right behind them
Yeah.
and then set the bomb off, but like gave them
Give them
way
time
too
to run
much time
away.
to run away. And I was thinking, I was like,
I'm like,
man,
well,
this is
why'd
either
they
gonna
even
be like
do
a
that?
really big bomb and it's gonna like send out a fireball and like engulf
Mhm.
them or something. But
Yeah.
no, it was just like a tiny explosion. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was just like, what
What
was
was
the
the
point of
point of that?
lining them up if you're just gonna let them get away? It
I
didn't do
guess
anything.
I guess the point was to try and like get Hank to surrender. I guess to make it seem like they were gonna kill him. I don't know.
I guess.
I kind of expected them to just start like shooting him in the back of the head. To be honest, you know.
Yeah, I was.
Um, yeah,
Oh god, yeah.
that was surprising. I was expecting all of Vault 33 to get slaughtered at that point. Um, but yeah, we good to move on to Maximus.
Yeah. Brotherhood of Steel. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty cool. That was a pretty I don't know. As somebody who hasn't like played the game a whole lot, do you think that was a good like introduction to the audience
Yes,
of the Brotherhood of Steel? Yeah,
I do. I do.
yeah.
I believe it was a good introduction because it shows what they when they're like showing Maximus in the lessons and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then they show the blimp, the Pridwin, and
Mm.
like I think you get the general message across that they literally say it that their whole like goal is to preserve and protect technology.
Yeah.
And I don't know now the thing is like yes it's a good introduction to the Brotherhood of Steel, but the Brotherhood of Steel has like 7 different versions,
Right.
which is really annoying. There's
Yeah.
there's technically two.
Mm. Okay.
There's the East Coast Brotherhood of Steel and the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel. This is technically the West
West
Coast
Coast.
Brotherhood of
Yeah.
Steel, but the ship that comes in is the Pridwin,
Mm-hmm.
which is the main Brotherhood of Steel ship for the East Coast. So
Oh.
I'm really confused because the Brotherhood of the West Coast it differs in some ways than the East Coast. I can't remember exactly which one it is. I think one of them like destroys technology instead of preserving it. The other
Oh, okay.
preserves it. And like it's just but there's always a conflicting
Right.
infighting with the Brotherhood of Steel going on and I just don't know where the show actually lies and which
I see.
faction we're looking at. But I
Interesting.
mean, if it is the Pridwin, the ship that we have, then it's
Yeah.
my guess is it's the East Coast Brotherhood of
Mm-hmm.
Steel, which would be what you see in Fallout 4. So if you play Fallout 4, you'll meet
Yeah.
you'll see the Pridwin that's in Fallout 4,
Okay. Yeah.
and you'll meet the Brotherhood of Steel who pilot it. So my
Oh,
guess would
okay.
be they're just the East Coast version that
I
preserve
did
technology.
I did do a side mission where I met like a Brotherhood of Steel guy and like we destroyed a bunch of like androids together and something, but
Yeah,
um I don't know about the rest of the games, but so far in the game, like they show, that like some of them are like knights or like there's a paladin. I think I met a paladin. But I think the show does a really good job like distinguishing like, here are the knights, here are the squires. The squires serve
yeah,
the knights kind of thing. They did a really good job with that. And
yeah.
kind of showing the hierarchy, like there's this weird guy in a robe. being,
Yeah,
like,
that's the
yeah,
elder.
yeah, yeah. And oh my god, the power suits, like
Oh,
when they first showed them just like walking in that like steam, like it's such a gratuitous, like cool slow motion shot, but it looked
yeah.
it was still just really
That's
badass.
like that's when you can use slow motion. That's a good time to
Yeah,
use slow motion.
yeah, yeah,
But that
yeah.
was cool.
That was
Yeah.
really cool. Oh, I see what you're saying. That ship thing. Yeah. What's it called again?
The Pridwin.
The Pridwin. And the West Coast doesn't use those.
It's not that I well, we've never seen them use it in a game. It's not I have no clue if they do or don't, but
Okay.
never seen it in a game.
So like which games are West Coast? Because I know Fallout is like in like Boston or something, right? It's like it's on the East Coast, obviously. Um,
So
well,
Fallout
New Vegas is obviously on the
Fallout
West Coast. Yeah.
Fallout 1 and 2 take place in California.
Okay.
Fallout Fallout 3 takes place in Washington DC. New Vegas takes
Right.
place in Nevada,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
And then 4 takes place in
It
Boston,
was
and
Boston. Okay.
76 takes place in West Virginia.
Okay. I think that is really cool though that the franchise like encompasses like a large, like different parts of the country. Kind of shows like differences. Like we haven't seen them yet because so far we've just been in California, but it would be
Yeah.
kind of cool if down the line in the show if we get to see like more of the East Coast vaults and everything. But yeah, so the first episode ends with Lucy going to go find her dad, which is kind of a very like reminiscent moment to like I guess kind of Fallout 3 because aren't you trying to find your dad in Fallout 3 or something?
Yep.
Like when you
So,
leave,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It kind of reminded me of that, and just like leaving the vault for the first time is kind of cool. And we also get to see Cooper as the ghoul for the first time. I will say I wasn't like very clear at first when they first introduced him, like what the hell a ghoul was. But I'll admit I did Google ghouls after and just like, oh okay.
Oh, so to explain, so I'm gonna step back for a second to explain the difference between the Brotherhood of Steel East and West Coast.
Okay.
The West Coast is like their main priority is advancing the faction, so hoarding technology for themselves and
Okay.
not for others, while the East Coast is focused on protecting the wasteland and caring for the people of the wasteland and
Mm,
like using technology to serve the people of the wasteland rather than themselves. So that's the
okay.
difference. And yes, now that I think about it, I can confirm that's East Coast Brotherhood because Maximus says multiple times he's a knight and he has his like goal is to protect the wasteland and its people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go.
Interesting. Which is interesting because they're on the West Coast, but I guess they're like part of that East Coast faction, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
yeah,
That ideology. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like I think it's very cool the very huge difference between Cooper like before the war
yeah.
and then him as the ghoul. Like he's a very
He's
like
so cool.
he's so cool. He's a very classic like Western like
Yeah,
villain slash anti-hero. Like throughout the show becomes more of an anti-hero, but yeah,
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
cool character. Honestly, I think the most interesting both in both forms. Like I think as Cooper and as the ghoul, he's the most interesting character in the show for me. But yeah,
I definitely agree.
yeah, moving on to episode 2. Oh
Yes.
yeah, this is the one where Lucy goes to that town, which reminded me. Like, I mean, I'm sure all the Fallout towns are kind of like this. Reminded me of that town in Fallout 3 with like the big bomb in the middle.
Megaton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Megaton. Yeah.
so here's the funny thing that I think is really funny about the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um it like when they go and visit Philly, you like look at the
Yeah.
town and it's like uh like what's the right word? Like encaged or whatever, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's walled
Yeah.
off,
It's
but with
walled
like
off. Yeah.
scrap metal and stuff
Yeah.
and like shipping containers.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's how it is in the game. But
Yeah.
the reason it's like that in the game and the reason it's not open is because they have to have the separate loading area. So it's like a completely separate area. So that's why it's closed off. And so when you
Okay.
go in it, it then loads that area and then you're inside the town. They
Oh
still did it
right.
for the show though. They
Right.
don't
That's
need
true.
to. But
Yeah.
like they could just have like a regular town, but they still did like the main
I see what
downtown
you're
part of
saying.
Philly was
Yeah.
like walled in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they just did that for aesthetic reasons to make it look like the games, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I thought that was cool. But
mhm.
yeah, this is the episode where we meet Dr. Siggy Wilzig.
Is that really his name?
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that this is where they show like why he's a wanted fugitive too,
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the energy source thing that he put in his neck, and also he let that dog live as his pet,
Yeah.
and he killed that other scientist who
Yeah.
found him out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, he
Yeah.
did a few things.
So yeah, this is the one I was talking about before. This is where people got upset because it was a big enclave facility, and the
Hmm.
enclave's supposed to be pretty
Oh,
small and
I
not
see. I
really as
see.
around as much.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Bethesda's franchise now. After two, or
Hmm.
like sorry, after three came out, I think you can just not throw it all out the window, but like take everything with a grain of salt and let it change a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're
Because
probably gonna base most things off of like 3 and 4,
yeah,
besides the lore, besides
exactly,
from
and
the
like,
lore.
and not only that, but like it's switching when you switch owners of a franchise,
Hmm.
obviously some story elements are gonna change.
Yeah,
So like I mean,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, like I don't really have
it's a cool
much to say.
faction.
Yeah.
I can understand why Bethesda
Hmm.
and the creators of the show would not want to just like completely ignore them. It's a really
Yeah.
cool faction, and
Hmm.
it's like it's one that was like used twice and then kind of thrown out. I
Yeah.
mean, they were in three, but they didn't play like as big
Hmm.
of a role.
And I mean, like, if you're gonna do like a retcon, like that's such a minor thing to change. It's not like it changes like gigantic story elements.
Yeah,
Like it's just like almost a background of a faction that pops up sometimes. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, I think that honestly the biggest like takeaway from this episode was the fight in Philly where first Maximus gets the armor from Knight Titus, who was
yeah. This
I
episode's really funny.
I wasn't sure where they were gonna go with Titus. I thought he was gonna be a major tool, but I wasn't sure if he was going to be like an actual kind of like good knight or if he was gonna suck, and he apparently sucked.
Yeah, when they go and they find the Yao Guai.
Yeah,
That part was so funny because it's
yeah,
like I'm gonna be comparing this to the games a lot.
yeah. Well, yeah,
It's
of course.
exactly like the games. When you
Hmm.
run into like a something like
Yeah,
that,
you're
I
just
mean,
like, oh
he
shit,
had
oh shit, oh
power.
shit, yeah,
Yeah, he had power armor.
yeah, and he was
First
still
of all,
running.
so he was being a little bitch. But
Yeah, yeah,
but like when you encounter something like that in the game, you're like, oh, like you react
yeah,
exactly like
yeah.
how Knight Titus did.
Yeah, that was funny. And then yeah, that whole scene was interesting where he, like I was kind of thinking Max because I think in the trailer it showed Maximus in the armor, so I was like, how are they gonna get the armor? And
Yeah,
then Titus he doesn't save Titus because Titus was being a douche,
yeah,
and he takes the armor and then he goes to Philly and ends up um kind of saving Lucy and the doctor, at least
yeah,
getting them time to escape, which I think is really interesting that the doctor is kind of the linchpin of these three different characters like converging on each other. I think it worked really well, but also it was surprising when the doctor just dies. Like
yeah.
at the like his leg, I was not for one thing, I was not expecting his leg to get blown off. I was like, oh damn, and then he got that like messed up freaking like bionic leg, but
Yeah, he goes like,
oh
"I'm not gonna make it." She's like, "No, you'll be fine." He's like, "No, I just took cyanide."
yeah, I know.
that,
She's like,
that
what?
part got me cracking up. Like
I
I was just
know.
like, I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but just
Yeah,
like, no, I
I
just took
guess took cyanide.
cyanide.
Like, no,
It just got me.
I know for sure I'm not gonna make it. No, yeah, yeah, that was, and then the rest of the show was just his head. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I gotta say that one scene, like that scene with the ghoul just kind of like taking on everybody in the town was pretty badass.
Oh, that was awesome.
And what was like his bullets were like,
We're like little mini nukes,
yeah,
little tiny
exactly.
mini
Is
nukes.
that something from the game?
I think like 90% sure there is a bullet type that looks
Okay,
exactly like that. It like
yeah,
goes through a hand cannon or something.
yeah.
But like no, it was still really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And then just having Maximus kind of fight him and seeing how like I thought it was funny too, like because Maximus didn't really know what he was doing. So like, even though he was able to just kind of like hold off the ghoul with his strength, but then he ended up like getting his foot stuck in that one scene and everything. That was, and it ended up kind of like ending on a stalemate because Maximus didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the rocket-powered shotgun slugs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yes,
Nice.
they are
Nice.
they do exist, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I figured, I mean, I considering all the other attention to detail that they paid, that they did in the show, I was kind of thinking they wouldn't just, have that in there for no reason.
Yeah, and I
Leave it as a
mean,
game
like,
thing.
also the slow motion action shots where it follows
Hmm.
the bullet is also a game
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that was pretty cool. And then yeah, it pretty much ends with Lucy going off with the head.
Yeah, where
So
she has to take off the head, and I really like, um, I oh my god, sorry. Maximus, I like Maximus a lot as a character,
mhm.
and I think like obviously this was kind of like our full introduction to his like the start of
Yeah.
his arc.
Yeah.
Um, but the carrying of the bag with all the weapons,
Yeah.
that is exactly how your companion feels when you're playing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because you can just like give them all your
You can
crap.
just give them all your stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that was great.
but yeah, I also thought it was really weird that Will's like was like just sitting right next to Lucy while she was sleeping. Like wasn't saying a word. He like waited for her to wake up, and then it was just like, "Oh, so you're awake now?" It was
Yeah,
just sitting there.
I
I was
know.
that was weird. That was weird. I was just like, he's a little weird guy, but
That was strange. Yeah, I remember thinking that too. He just like, oh, okay, he's just chilling.
but
Um, yeah,
the ghoul is awesome. Love
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. Definitely very, very cool. Episode 3. This is like the Gulper episode,
Yeah.
where we see the gulper and it's really weird. No. I'm trying to keep track of like when like because there's also this whole subplot with like the vault and Norm figuring stuff out, which was super interesting. I don't remember exactly like, how much unfolds in each episode, but I remember like I wasn't expecting Norm to be as big of a character as he was, but he ends up kind of like being the
Stealing the
main
show.
character. Yeah, yeah, like he was a really interesting character and he was the only one trying to figure out what's actually going on in the vaults and like why is everything so freaking weird.
Give me a Fallout Norm spinoff.
Yeah, for
Fallout
real.
Norm Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, right. Which I'm kind of glad to see Moises Arias in a role like that because I haven't seen him in a while. Like he used to be on a lot of Disney Channel
Disney
and like
Channel.
kid
Yeah.
movie stuff, so it's kind of cool. Like he's had really minor roles in other stuff, but it's cool to have him have like an actual
Yeah,
like
I was
legit
honestly
supporting
I
character
I
role.
was really happy because I liked him as an actor already. I thought
Yeah,
he was I
same.
think he
Yeah,
was in uh 5 Feet Apart. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like a
I've
chick
heard of
flick,
it.
but he was really good in it. He was
Okay.
really good in it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I liked him as an actor. I was really glad to see him like do something like where he gets more screen time and more
Yeah.
serious.
Absolutely.
And I think
Yeah.
he killed it.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I
I don't know why they cast him as Lucy's brother though.
Yeah, he
They
doesn't
don't
look
look anything
he
alike.
doesn't
None
look
of them look alike.
it's
I'm,
true. Yeah, it's true. Like the dad, the mom. I mean, not the mom. Well, we kind of see the mom. I guess she works, but the dad, the Lucy and Norm, none of them look like alike at
no,
all,
no.
which is kind of funny. Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to think with like this episode is mostly like the gulper, which we see the weird like finger things, which was
Yeah, that was cool.
interesting. Oh yeah, and then Maximus gets Thaddeus as his squire or whatever,
Yeah,
and
I love
their whole thing.
Thaddeus.
Yeah, honestly, that was a really fun dynamic between the two of them.
Yep.
Because like obviously Maximus only knew him as like his tormentor,
Yeah.
so having him there just as like a dorky dude, it's like,
It was yeah, it's so funny.
mhm.
He's like, oh, he was refilling his water bag or whatever. He's just like, oh, did you know my former squire? And he's just like, yeah, I knew him. He's like, say something negative about him. He's like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like the guy just died.
I
He's
don't
like,
know what
unorder my squire.
Like, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. No, and then his answer wasn't even really negative about
No, it
him.
wasn't even negative.
No. But yeah, and that was kind of cool seeing Maximus like trying to be a better knight than Titus. You know, like he
Yeah.
stood his ground with the Gulper and kind of like he saved like Thaddeus saved him and then he saved Thaddeus and everything. That was pretty cool. I think there were also some flashbacks with Cooper at this point as well. I think we're introduced to his wife in this episode, maybe.
Hmm.
Um,
I think.
or it might have been in
um,
episode 2.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it is episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where he does the Vault Tech ad. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it's like heavily implied he is the Vault Boy.
Yes.
Um,
It's very heavily
it's
implied.
heavily implied, but like I don't want to aggravate someone. So, it's heavily implied though that
Yeah.
he is the
Well,
Vault Boy, which is cool. I mean, he has to be, right?
is
He shoots the billboard.
yeah.
He shoots the billboard. He shoots the face of the billboard
Right,
of
that's
the Vault
true.
Boy, and then it immediately does that section. So he has to be.
Well, in it also the end titles like they actually kind of show a lot of stuff and I think I don't know exactly how it goes, but they show his billboard at one point, you know, with him doing this, and then they show the Vault Boy
Mm,
billboard, like they animated him like with the thumb up. So, I mean, he's definitely the inspiration for it.
yeah,
Like obviously it
yeah,
doesn't look exactly like him because Vault Boy
no,
is blonde and everything, but like
yeah.
he was obviously the inspiration for
Yeah,
that
which
character.
is super super cool, and
Hmm.
obviously gives us a little bit of. It's just like it's not even like a huge deal. It's just like a little, just like, oh, you know that face you've been seeing all around.
Right.
Okay.
I honestly really like it because they could have just made it feel like a spin-off and be like, well, this is set in the world, but it actually seems to affect the whole like
Yeah,
Fallout
yeah,
world and like fill in some of the blanks that the
yeah. It felt
games
well. Yeah,
don't go
that's the
into.
thing, is it fills in a lot of the blanks that we
Hmm.
don't have answers for, and even if it's small things like the Vault Boy or whatever, like there's
Hmm.
still like a lot of answers that we get,
Yeah.
especially in the last episode.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. I think it's more in like the next episode where like Cooper kind of gets flack from people for being in those ads because like he just takes it as like, oh yeah, it's a job, like, oh, you know, but it's an advertising job. But other people see Vault Tech as, you know, the psychos that they kind of are, and you know
Yeah.
they're basically, you know, they see them as, you know, that they have a vested interest in, you know, the bombs going off. So he kind of gets a lot of flack for that later on. Oh yeah, and then at the end of episode 3, Lucy gets captured by the ghoul, and
Yeah,
I
do they meet
think Titus.
Roger? Yeah, Roger the Ghoul. Well,
Yeah,
there's a Roger.
it's
My name's
it's
Roger.
it's it's either this episode or the next one where he's out of the medicine and kind of turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's that was cool. We don't really
Hmm.
see. I mean, like there are a few instances where like you see people maybe turning feral, but like not
Yeah.
like that.
Well, we do in like episode 4, like not turning feral.
No, no,
We
no.
do see some.
I mean just like in the game.
Oh, just in general. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
just in
yeah,
general.
yeah,
You don't. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it seems
yeah.
like. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I totally knew he was gonna shoot him. Like
Oh
as
yeah,
soon as he turned his head, I was like, "Oh, he's
I
dead."
just the thing that just bothers
That
me is he doesn't explain it to Lucy,
no, he doesn't. He just
and like I know why. I know
yeah,
why.
yeah,
But she doesn't, and like
no,
I'm just like, and like the audience doesn't. The audience who
yeah,
don't know anything about the games have no clue. So I'm just like,
mm,
explain it. Just that one part. Just explain it. Just be
I
like, it was turning feral. I had to kill him. Like
yeah,
just throwaway line.
something like that. Yeah, exactly. I was kind of waiting for that too, but you know, it didn't come. But what surprised me is he's like, "All right, time to eat him." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't
That was I honestly forgot a lot of ghouls are cannibals because
cannibals. Yeah,
um I'm pretty sure there's something about like eating other ghouls, like the whatever's in like whatever they use to like keep
yeah.
themselves from going feral. If you eat them after they've like taken it or whatever,
Hmm.
you can get enough to like make sure you don't go
Oh,
feral.
I see. I see.
Oh,
Interesting. Yeah, because at that point he was out of his
yeah.
medication because his satchel got eaten by the gulper. Yeah. So this episode 2 shows us, was it like Mega Mart or something? What's
Super
the
Duper Mart.
Super Duper Mart? Yeah, the big old, like the big chain that's in most of the games. I mean, it's in both 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty fun nod to the game. Like it felt exactly like those stores, pretty
Yeah.
much. And then those
When it was,
weird like stoner guys that were just chilling on the couch.
yeah, those were funny.
Oh
The Mr. Gutsy
yeah,
was awesome.
yeah, yeah. He
I
was
love-
awesome.
oh,
Yeah,
how perverse. No, I'm just going to take your organs or
yeah,
something like that.
that was great. Yeah, I was very like when the ghoul bit off her finger. I was like, oh shit! I did not expect her to like lose a finger, but then he just like found a dead finger. He's like, yeah,
Yeah, that was
put it on your
cool.
hand.
That was really cool.
That was cool. Yeah, I was not
I was
expecting
like,
that.
I guess that explains why like I can just like get blown up 6 times by a missile launcher and then just go to the
Right.
doctor and just have
Yeah,
everything fixed.
I like how they try to have canonical reasons for like why the
Yeah.
games are like so ridiculously like a video game, you know?
Yeah, like a video game. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun, and that whole episode was kind of cool. Just we got to see some feral ghouls, hanging out in those like freezers and everything, and
Yeah.
and I think
Oh,
at the end,
once again, no one
yeah.
explains to her that they are feral.
Right. I know
The
they're
open
just
seas, they're like, lady, you don't want to do that, and they don't explain why.
no, they
Just
don't.
do
It's
it.
true. It's
I
true.
would have been
It's
like,
awful.
lady, they're feral. They're gonna kill you.
Yeah, but no,
No.
they're just. Yeah, they probably could have done a little better job explaining things. Yeah. So, and then, oh yeah, this is also the episode where what's her name? The one girl, come on now. Stephanie, she gives birth. She looked like she was
Oh
about to
yeah.
pop for the first 3 episodes, so it's
Yeah.
not surprising. But yeah, there's
Yeah,
like
that whole scene was weird.
it was weird.
That
Yeah,
was
it was
so
very
weird.
strange. That one guy is kind of a weird character, Chet.
Chet, I love Chet.
But yeah, no, like
So funny.
he's great because he's
He's so
like
funny.
he's kind of the opposite of Norm and
Yeah.
Lucy, I guess. Like, but it's like he's trying. He wants to be more like a go getter type, but he's so just like a vault person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a man baby.
yeah,
That's what
right,
he is.
exactly. Yeah, he's so sheltered from
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, yeah. I thought that was all fun, and yeah, it was what's his name? Roger is the yeah. I'm just looking at pictures here. Yeah. Oh, and then I think the very end of this, when Lucy leaves the store, the ghoul comes in and um chills out in front of the TV. He pops in
Yeah,
like
he does a bunch of drugs and
yeah, and he pops in this like weird looking VHS, which
Hmm.
and starts watching like his old movies, and I think that's like really kind of reminds him of like who he used to be, which I think is important for the character
Yeah.
going forward throughout the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 5 is I think the next episode where Lucy and I think Lucy and Maximus actually like
Yeah, so
team
she
up.
leaves she
Yeah.
leaves the Super Duper Mart, and then
Mhm.
she finds him
Mhm.
after he confessed to Thaddeus that he
Yeah,
wasn't actually Knight Titus.
which was probably not the greatest
And
idea.
he gets locked in his power armor, which is super funny.
Yeah.
Um, so but there yeah, so obviously there's a manual release to the power armor, which they
Right, but
show.
you can't
But you
get
can't
to
get
it.
it. You can't get it.
Yeah, which
So,
is probably
a design
a
oversight?
bit of a design flaw. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like you literally need your squire to get you out of your armor if it if it powers down if there's no cell.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean when he stomped his foot, I was like, oh, that probably hurt. And then it shows
Oh, I
Thaddeus' foot
know.
later. I'm like, holy shit! Like
Yeah,
what?
I know. I was just like, how have you been walking
I
around with
know
that? Like, how have you been walking?
his toe is hanging off. Like holy hell!
Oh god, that was so bad.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
so
that was rough.
they find she finds him and then they go to
Hmm.
Shady Sands. And this
Right.
is where everyone loses their minds.
Yeah.
Everyone loses their minds. Shady Sands is gone. Wiped off the map.
Oh.
So I don't have a problem with this. Follow Shady Sands is the capital of the NCR. and it's also like the first
Okay.
place you find in Fallout 1 and 2.
Ah, I see.
Um, so it's like it's a big deal in the lore.
Yeah.
But the thing is
Interesting.
no, they haven't I'll get to that later. But yeah, Shady Sands is gone. People are super
Mm-hmm.
upset because they think the destruction of Shady Sands uh ruins the canon of Fallout New Vegas, and
Huh.
I think, yeah, just New Vegas. They think it ruins the canon of New Vegas because Shady
Okay.
Sands is mentioned in New Vegas and it's talked about in New Vegas quite a bit.
Mm,
So
I see.
that's where people are like, oh, like retcons New Vegas, but it doesn't.
Right.
Um, but yeah, Shady Sands is gone.
Well, because New Vegas takes place when
New Vegas takes place in 2281, 2281.
okay, so that is a solid
That's
so
4 years after the start of the fall of Shady Sands. Not the fall of Shady Sands.
mhm,
There's an arrow on the board. I'm not
yeah.
justifying anything here. If you can read a timeline, if you
Yeah.
can read a timeline,
Right.
the arrow doesn't mean that that's what happened. It means like that's the start, and then this is what it culminated in.
Mhm.
And like so, Shady Sand started its decline in 27 in 22 2277, and
Mhm.
then it had its full decline after the bombs dropped after the events of Fallout New Vegas.
Right.
So it takes place, I think, like I would assume the bomb fell in like 2283
Mhm.
or something like that,
That
like
would that
just
would make
to
sense because the show takes place in 2296.
96. Yeah,
So that's a solid like 13, 14
yeah,
years between, and that would make sense because we saw Maximus as a kid during the
yeah,
bombing.
yeah,
So I mean that
exactly.
makes sense timeline wise. I don't know why people would get their
Yeah,
knickers in
it
a twist,
doesn't
but
doesn't
it's
it doesn't retcon New Vegas. New Vegas is still canon, but Shady Sands is destroyed
hmm
currently.
yeah. Which I think if I knew more about the lore, I'd be like, oh my god. But I would just like, oh yeah,
I don't even care.
it's a
I don't really
it's
care. I mean, I haven't played
it's a
Fallout
ton.
1 and 2, so I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that's
there's
fair.
a reason I don't really care. But to the
Yeah,
over, it is an important spot to the lore
yeah,
of Fallout 1, 2, and New Vegas.
yeah.
But
Right.
it's not a big deal. It is gone now. It's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, no, I don't see why, but I do think that that was very cool. That imagery of just the giant pit where the
Yeah, that
bomb
was
went
awesome.
off, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
and like
Um,
it's even funnier when like they reveal who did it. So
yeah, yeah, I was
well,
very surprised as well because as someone who hasn't played the games very much, I didn't know that like some bombs still went off after the war. You know,
yeah.
like bombings still happened apparently. I didn't, so that was a surprise to me, not knowing anything apparently. Yeah. So moving
See,
on to
to everyone who
episode.
thinks Fallout 76 isn't important, what Michael just said right there, he would know if he played Fallout 76.
76. Yeah, exactly. Well, fair enough. Yeah.
So
Isn't
Fallout 76 does have value.
76 like more of a multiplayer
Yeah.
type game? Yeah, that's why people were mad about
It's not the
it.
best, but it's good
Yeah,
enough.
it's
It's good enough.
sure. Yeah. Okay, now episode 6, I think, is when we really start to get into Cooper's backstory and like the whole conspiracy that's kind of around his story, which I found one of the most interesting parts of the
Oh,
whole show, honestly.
we
But
kind of skipped over Vault 4
oh, that was
in
at the end
episode
of
5.
episode 5, or right?
Yeah, that was episode 5, and that's when Betty gets elected as overseer.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, also Norm finds out that the all the overseers for Vault 33 have all been from Vault 31. So this
Yeah,
is when the pieces
that's
start
really
coming
important.
together that the three interconnected vaults 32, 33, or 31, 32, and 33, something's going
Yes.
on.
Yeah,
So
right, which we don't know, which was very intriguing. And
yeah,
I
and I
thought
think yeah, they also this is when they also order Vault 32 to be repopulated,
yes, right, and they
and they
like
clean it up.
yeah, and I thought that one guy, that one old dude who kept being like, "I'm not gonna vote for you." Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna vote for
that guy was so awkward. He did that multiple times in the show. There were like multiple scenes
two
where he's
different
just like
guys.
Oh,
He
were they two different guys?
to the two
Oh,
different
no, to the both different ones. Yeah,
yeah, to the
yeah,
two guys who were running for overseer against Betty.
yeah. That was
He
so
was
funny.
like,
It's so
he's
awkward.
he was just like awkwardly staring, like, I voted for Betty, and he's like walks away.
You just
Thanks for letting me know. But yeah, I was very surprised what was going on with Vault 4 because they really set it up as like there's this sinister thing going on with Vault 4, and then
yeah.
it's
That
like
was that whole episode kind of infuriated me because the whole time I was like, "What's really going on? Like, what's
yeah,
the deeper meaning in this?" And then they actually revealed that it's nothing, and I'm
yeah,
like, "All right."
fair enough. They're
So,
they're they're just
Vault 4 is
helping freaks.
where all of Shady Sand, like the survivors of Shady Sands, went.
Right, and they are like really into that one chick, like the mother
Yeah,
of fire or whatever.
yeah, Moldaver,
Moldaver, yeah. And they do
and
this yeah, that weird like fire uh
yeah. So this is like they go down like into the vault, and she's walking through the vault, and she finds the NCR flag, and then the main
mm.
Fallout theme
Oh,
plays, and
that was
oh my
badass.
gosh,
That was
I was
so
just
cool.
hit with like a brick wall of just like,
Yes.
oh god, I was like, yes, I was like, that is so fire.
That was
That
so
was
well
so cool.
done. Yeah, as
That was
soon
super
as
cool.
the music hit, I was like, "Oh man, this sounds so cool." Yeah, that was a really cool music cue.
Yeah, so that
Um,
was awesome. And yeah, so they're in Vault 4, and
mhm.
this is when she's just like, "Do you want to have sex?" And he's like
Oh
make my
yeah,
cock
right.
explode.
Yeah,
Like,
that
no,
that
no,
was
no, no.
funny.
He says like, use my cock.
Yeah, right. He's like, well, I'm not saying it happens to me, but for some people, they,
It gets really hard, and then it pops like a pimple.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh my
uh,
god. And it's
she
so funny because
was,
yes, Brotherhood like
yeah,
knights aren't allowed. People in the
yeah.
Brotherhood are not allowed to have relations.
But I think it's
And
funny that
like,
they like lie to them and just tell them these ridiculous like stories.
I
That
know it's so funny.
oh man, and
But
I thought it was really funny too. The way they had those like mutated people in Vault 4 and everyone was just like acting like everyone was normal, like that one the overseer came in with like his one
yeah,
eye,
yeah, and I
which
remember. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say that's Chris Parnell. He does like a ton of voices. He's Jerry
Yeah,
and Rick and Morty, and he's an archer and stuff. It's kind of fun. It's always funny to see him in a live action role because he's always
yeah,
doing voice acting. But he was
yeah.
great. His character.
It was really funny because it was his one like scene in the trailer that got people like really upset
Mm,
because they're like, it's breaking lore because the overseer can't be a mutant. And
mm,
it's just like, because yes, everyone in the vault should be non-mutated.
mm.
But I mean, obviously it's explained that these people took over the vault after
Right.
the fact.
Right, because they're all being experimented on by the
Yeah,
scientists, and they had like a revolution,
yeah,
which
exactly.
I thought they did a very good job showing the origin of that vault because Vault 4 was the one that Cooper was like filming in, and they did
Yeah,
the advertisements like this is gonna be a science-based vault, and
yeah,
all
and it just
everyone here's
showed what they were really doing.
right, which was interesting. And I thought it was funny too, where they were like going to punish Lucy,
Yeah,
and they're like, "We punish you by banishment. Get out of here." She's like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of what I wanted in the first place."
yeah. I thought, yeah, that Vault 4 was really cool, and that
Mhm.
yeah, they go they go to kill her
Yeah,
after she like finds,
I
or they don't
think
kill her, but they would just like they're just he like
yeah,
pulls it up and he's like, "Huh!"
he used
He
that
starts
giant
cutting the vines on her hand.
that
He's just like, we
giant
really
axe.
need to sharpen this thing.
Yeah, and then Maximus comes in with the power armor, starts destroying everything.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or wait, let's backtrack a second
Yeah.
before when she's just like when she comes in and she's like, Maximus, we gotta get out of here. He's just like, look at all this stuff. You wanna
Yeah.
make my cock explode? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, intercourse?
Yeah. There were honestly a lot of really funny lines, just like interactions between the characters and stuff that were really
Yeah, that was
hilarious.
hysterical.
And then Lucy, yeah, when she got caught downstairs and she thought there was something sinister going on, she threw acid on that guy's face,
Oh
which
my
I
gosh,
I kind of
yeah.
forgot about when they were gonna punish her and say like, oh, she caused so much pain to these people. I'm like, I mean, she punched a few people. For some reason, for a second, I totally forgot the acid until
Yeah,
she
yeah, see
mentioned
that.
it. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She horribly disfigured a man. My bad. I totally forgot. Yeah, that was really, and it was really cool. The Vault 4 was really cool because it was the first, I think, multi like floor vault we see in the show.
Um,
Because 33 and all those were just a single. I mean, like if you count, I mean, because they only really showed the living quarters of that.
yeah, they only show the living quarters and like, but
Right.
it is definitely multi-floored because when they're going up to escape,
Yeah.
when they're going up to escape, they look down and it's like super deep.
Right. But they don't have like multiple floors for people to live on, which it wasn't
I
really
don't.
clear for did.
My assumption would be they do. They just don't show it.
So in they did an interview with the cast, and I think the actress who plays Lucy, like they asked a question like how big are vaults, and she said that 33 is a like single level vault or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I think it is just like that one level where people live
Gotcha.
on. But 4 was different because it had like at least when they first brought them in, you could see all the different levels, and it looked like a lot of it
Yeah.
was like labs and stuff though.
Yeah, and if you explore a lot of the vaults in the games,
Yeah.
they are
Oh yeah.
mostly multi-leveled.
Right, exactly.
My
So,
assumption would be since it was three interconnected vaults, they
mhm.
probably were interconnected on different floors, possibly.
Yeah, probably. I think what was really cool, kind of going back to that advertisement Cooper did, I thought like I was honestly very impressed with just how much they made of a practical vault. You know, like I don't know how much of it was CGI, how much, but he was actually like walking through the vault, and it looked like an actual set they made, and like it looked exactly like a vault from the game. I think they did like
Yeah,
such a good job with that.
they did.
But we're ready to move on to episode 7. I think this is the one where Thaddeus becomes a ghoul. With the, oh yeah, there's that one guy throughout the whole
Oh,
show, that
wait,
snake
hold on.
oil guy. Yeah, well,
We gotta go back. Hold on, because we keep skipping over like
yeah,
important stuff.
yeah.
This is where he's this also at the end. This is where Howard, or Cooper goes to the meeting about the like the
Oh
insider,
yeah,
like
the
where he meets
communist meeting.
Moldaver. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's when he gets the bug to put on his wife
Mm-hmm.
because he's like, yeah, he keeps getting like, and he's confused and he's wondering what's going on
Yeah,
before, but with his wife because
yeah.
he's
Oh,
definitely suspicious.
we also skipped over. They showed. I mean, this isn't the same guy from. Um, this isn't the same voice actor from the games, but they show the voice of the
I
Mister
think
Handy robots,
I think it is.
Matt Berry. I mean, I think I looked it up. Maybe he did in some game. He's not the voice of Cogsworth from Fallout 4. Maybe I don't know if he did other games, but he's kind of a famous comedian though. Matt Berry, like he's been in a lot of stuff like what we do in the shadows, and um
Yeah.
his own shows and stuff.
I don't, who did voice Codsworth?
Yeah, I looked into it, and it was just like it's somebody I'm not familiar with at all, who plays the voice of him. But like he sounds exactly like him, the Matt
Yeah, he
Berry's.
does.
And I thought it was kind of fun that they showed like they actually based his voice on an actual actor, and like
Yeah.
use this that so that was kind of cool. And I thought it was funny too, where they were like, yeah, and they gave me a free one. I was like, well, why would I want like a robot with the voice of
With my
myself
voice,
doing
yeah.
doing chores for me? Yeah, yeah, that was funny. So yeah, like you said, there's that whole meeting. Cooper goes to, and he gets the listening device, listen in on his wife, and he's not really sure about doing it at first, but then like some stuff he learns in the meeting, because Moldaver says like your wife's into some shady stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if then he noticed a few things that like the way his wife's being kind of secretive about stuff, kind of throw
yeah,
suspicion on
because
her.
he's just like, we can afford to get in a vault ourselves, and she's
Yeah,
just like, one of the good ones, and he's
Y-
like, what do you mean by that?
yeah. He's like, what do you mean? There's different there's bad vaults. No. And
Yeah, so
we've
like
we
I
we've
you probably already know this, but to
mhm,
explain for people who don't, each vault has its own experiment, whether that's
right.
social, physical, or whatever, or mental.
Hmm.
They
So
all have their own
that's from the
experiment, but there
games
were
too, or is that
yes,
okay?
yeah. So Vault 111, the one you started in Fallout
Yeah,
4,
yeah.
was to freeze people for like a really long time and then
Yeah.
unfreeze them and see how they adapt.
Hmm.
Like that was the experiment of Fallout 4's Vault 111.
Right. That's what
Um
your character goes through.
yeah, there was this one vault, I forget what vault it was, but it was a vault of this one clone guy named Gary. And there were like hundreds of Garys, and you can visit this vault. I think it's in 3. I think it's in Fallout 3. You visit this vault, and there are like all the same guy, and like they try and kill you, and they're all like super aggressive, and their enemies, and all they say, they go around saying, ha ha ha, Gary. And that's all you hear throughout the vault. It's honestly
That's
creepy.
funny.
It's
That's
creepy,
so
but it's
it's
funny.
Vault 108 looks like.
Gary
Yeah,
Vault.
so
Vault
Gary
108.
23. Yeah, it looks like it's
Yeah,
Vault
Vault 108.
108.
Vault 108. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, see, I didn't know that going into it. Like they explain it in like episode 8, like the last episode,
Yeah.
in that big, meeting.
Meeting. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that that was a thing from the games, to be honest. But we've kind of been looking over dog meat, or CX404, the dog that the
Yeah.
doctor stole. And when he starts, or I think it's a she, I don't know, when the dog starts following around the ghoul, like when the ghoul finds him in the like soda machine or whatever,
The
that like
Nuka-Cola machine, yeah.
freezer that Thaddeus left him in, he calls him
That was
dog
so
meat.
messed up
It
yeah,
was.
it was so
What the hell
messed
were you
up
thinking,
because I was
Thaddeus?
so pissed. I was just like, Thaddeus, that just made me not like you. Why would you
Yeah.
do that?
Why would you? Yeah. But yeah, the ghoul calls him dog meat, which is the name of the year dog
Yeah.
in Fallout 4. Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
fun.
It's funny. There's a dog meats in Fallout 1, Fallout 2,
Oh, really?
Fallout 3, and 4. So he's a reoccurring character, and he's
And
in the show.
it's the
And
same dog, or like different versions?
different
Yeah.
dogs, but
Yeah.
they're
But they're all
typically
dog
it's
meat. Yeah.
yeah, they're all dog meat. There's one actually. There is a dog companion in New Vegas. His name's Rex though, and he's a
Mm.
robot dog.
Oh, okay. That's fun. Yeah, that reminds me a bit of The Witcher, because in the games and the books and everything, Geralt, like he lives for like a long time, but so he has like a different horse, but he always names
But it's
his horse
always right.
Roach. Yeah, exactly. It kind of reminds me of that. Like all the dogs are dog meat. No, yeah.
Yeah,
So this is the one where Thaddeus gets this medicine from the snake oil guy,
yeah,
who apparently fucks chickens.
yeah.
Um,
The
that
mysterious
scene was
serum.
ridiculous.
The
But
mysterious serum.
I honestly didn't expect that to work, because he's credited as the snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
So I was like, but it worked, but apparently it also made Thaddeus a ghoul, so that's
Mhm.
fun.
So that's the thing is it's up in the air if it actually made him a ghoul or not because what it
Mm.
looks like is it looks
Oh, that's it.
exactly like this thing called the mysterious serum from Fallout 4,
Oh,
which
okay.
I'm not even gonna go into the lore of because it's like it's
Yeah,
crazy lore, like
yeah.
honestly, but it's more than likely that because it has the same abilities that like heals you and makes you basically immortal,
Okay.
which he basically was.
Yeah.
And like the thing with ghouls is like ghoulification is a process
Yeah, I was
of
gonna
being
say, yeah,
exposed
okay.
to radiation, not really given a serum. I've never seen
I see.
anyone given a serum and like become a ghoul.
So it doesn't seem
Like
like he's actually a ghoul. He just has
no,
this
yeah, he's just got like
miracle serum thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And like that or if we go to the extreme, which I don't think it is, it could be the FEV virus, which is the forced evolutionary virus,
Mm.
which is what makes super mutants.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Interesting. So yeah, so I guess I mean, I feel like they set it up where we're gonna see Thaddeus in season 2,
I hope
because
so.
that's pretty much the end of him, because he just runs away from the Brotherhood of Steel because they think he's a ghoul and they don't like ghouls.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, that's is where Lucy and Maximus kiss and everything. And I think in an episode or two ago, he agrees to go back to 33 with her. But we
Hmm.
see later with how that's not a thing. That's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. Um, so I'm trying to think what this happened this episode. I think this might have been the episode where Cooper goes to the meeting. I don't really remember. It's all kind of a blur. Like it's hard when you binge watch a show because like everything's like, like all the episodes kind of blend together. Um, yeah, I think this is like Norm starts to figure stuff out, and I think he contacts. Is that this episode or next where he contacts the overseer from Vault 31?
I think. Hold on.
I think that might be episode
I think
8.
that's next episode.
But we're getting close to
No,
that.
no,
No,
this is no. It is episode 7 because this is the episode
okay.
where he enters Vault.
Right. So yeah, and then okay, yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah. So this is where it's revealed that Vault 31 is secretly holding a bunch of Vault Tech employees.
and
Or
they're
sorry,
just
no, it's not.
no
It's revealed that there's
the
another
bunch
secret.
of
There's a bunch of frozen people in a vault.
yeah, yeah, and there's that brain on a Roomba.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's
That's
credited
really, yeah,
as.
I know. That's was
That's
so funny.
hilarious.
That was so funny. I was like, okay, well, Roombas now exist in Fallout universe.
Yeah, and it's actually that guy from Vault Tech. I forget his name, but
Yeah,
he's
the
like
guy,
the PR guy
but
that like kept
but
Bud that kept like talking to Cooper and like talked about his program, and we see what his program ends up being.
yeah,
Um yeah, I mean, I don't really remember where each episode comes. So let's just talk about all the stuff that happens at the end. So
yeah. So
yeah. So I guess starting with Cooper, we
he
see
bugs his
that
wife.
he bugs his wife, but then the bug doesn't work because she gets too far away, so he has to go into the building. And he ends up hearing his wife in that meeting with like the inner circle of like it's Vault Tech and a bunch of other companies conspiring about you
Yeah,
know how they're gonna make the vaults, and they basically give
yeah,
free reign to these tycoons to do what they want with the vaults, like do their
yeah,
own experiments.
yeah. So we see Mr. House,
Yeah,
who is
right.
the
He's
main
there.
character in New Vegas, which was
Right.
awesome. I was just like, wait a minute, is that Mr. House? And then I
Yeah.
saw Rob Cohen. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, Mr. House, the house always wins, was there. Big MT was there,
Mm.
which is only mentioned in New Vegas. So
Ah,
it's pretty
okay.
cool that they got an appearance.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Interesting.
no, that was really cool. They also show a map of all the vaults. So
Yeah,
now
that was cool
canonically
too.
we know where all the vaults are.
Yeah,
We
that was cool.
also learned that Hank was that Henry guy that worked with his wife.
Yeah,
And then
that
Betty
was
was like the secretary or something.
yeah, right, exactly. That was surprising. Like, and
So like,
he actually met Cooper back
yeah,
when Hank was a young guy, and they did
yeah,
some CGI de-aging, which
yeah. It was
which
a little.
they still have not perfected that. It's been years, and it still doesn't look that much
I can
better.
tell. I can really tell. I don't know
Yes,
why I can tell, but I can really tell. And it's
there's
like
been
that.
one or two that I can't even think off the top of my head that I think have worked really well because
I think
they
Indiana Jones did.
that was very good. The Dial of Destiny or whatever, that was really good. And there are a couple where they just kind of show it, like they don't like focus on their face and be like, look at them, because
Yeah,
it never works when they do that, because it's like, well, that doesn't look
it
right.
really did that in the
Yeah,
Fallout show, though. It was a close up
yeah.
on
It
Hank's
was
face.
like,
It was like, all right.
look, it's Hank, but he's got a CGI young face.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so then they kind of drop it that like they're
Hmm.
Vault Tech employees and that
Yeah.
this is technically a control vault.
Right. And Vault
Uh,
31 is just like the frozen
the
Vault
frozen
Tech employees, and
yeah.
every like
Buds or I think it's called.
Buds, right? And then like every so often they unfreeze somebody who becomes a new overseer, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And that was a pretty interesting and pretty crazy revelation.
Yeah,
Um,
that was really cool. I mean, and then obviously they're just like how are we going to guarantee the that our like
Yeah,
investments aren't going to go to waste, and they're like,
right. Like we're gonna drop the
dropping
bombs.
the bomb ourselves.
It's like
Just nuts.
you knew it was coming, but at the same time, just they did a really good job just
I was so
ramping up the suspense.
Yeah, I was so curious if that's what they were truly
Mm-hmm.
gonna reveal,
Mm-hmm.
and like I guess that's what it was. I mean, we've
I
never
mean,
had confirmation of who started the Great War.
right.
Like it's always been it was believed to be China
Mm.
that started it, but now we have confirmation that what happened is Vault-Tec probably dropped the bombs on China and the US, which probably started retaliatory attacks
Mm.
towards each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Nice people. I
yeah,
think
great
it's
people. All glory to Vault-Tec.
I'm really curious what Barb's end goal is. Like, is she totally like drinking the Kool-Aid of Vault Tech and totally, or is she just doing this to save her family and she feels like this is gonna happen no matter what? But I'm here on the inside. I can make sure my family is safe in a vault. Like I'm kind of curious what her motivation is.
Yeah. I mean, we'll obviously see in season 2
Right.
where what happened with their relationship after he found out.
Yeah, and what I found surprising too is at the very end, the ghouls says like he's looking for his family. So I'm like, so
Yeah.
his family survived somehow? Like it's been,
Yeah.
for a long, long time. Are they ghouls too? Like, are they in?
I I'm curious how Moldaver survived. They do not
Yes,
explain that. They do not explain it at all.
I
I thought I
was going to
missed
bring that
something.
up.
I rewatched the series. I didn't
Hmm.
miss anything. They do not bring it up.
I was going to bring that. Yeah, I was gonna say. I kept waiting for them to say, "Oh, this is why Moldaver's still alive," but she hasn't really aged at all. Like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
everyone else is a ghoul. Like, maybe that's something that they're gonna reveal. Like the same thing with like his family, like how his family's still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Maybe.
hopefully we'll see in like Cooper's flashbacks,
Yeah.
like we'll see what happened with that
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
because she's dead now, so
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which that
um
that whole scene was
if they do
very.
not explain that, I'm gonna be a little
That would be, yeah, that would be a major plot hole. But that
yeah,
whole scene with at Moldaver's base where Lucy finally gets there and Moldaver takes that power source thing. I forget what it's called out of the doctor's head.
yeah,
And then we get to see Lucy reunite with her mom, who was a feral ghoul, which was pretty
yeah,
messed up.
yeah.
uh,
Why did he even have her?
I don't know. That was weird.
That was so weird. It's just
Well,
like
I
how
think,
long because it was like 13 or so years, like
yeah,
right? So like how
yeah,
long has she held on to her mom? Because like ghouls
right.
roam. Like
Right.
she had to have held on to her.
Well, she it looked like she was chained. So like she just been hanging out there like on a leash
Just to prove
for
a point.
13 years. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it seemed like they were good friends. Moldaver and the mom, like they became
Yeah.
allies and friends. So, but yeah, they really like. I was not expecting. I mean, I probably should have, but I wasn't expecting Hank, the dad, to be, you know,
Yeah.
as bad as as he ended up being.
Yeah.
I think by the time that they revealed that he was a Vault Tech employee, I was like, he's probably bad. But then like the extent that he went to like burn down that whole um whatever and
Blow up
killing the
Sadie
mom.
Shady
Oh yeah,
Sands.
right. It was just saying that, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
and
it's revealed that he's the one who nuked Shady
right,
Sands.
right, exactly, yeah, and he killed the mom in the process. Which, yeah, pretty
That's
not something you come back from. But I honestly expected him to die, but instead he gets a power armor suit and flies away.
yeah, that part really aggravated me because it was like not there's nothing wrong with the writing of it, but it's like
Mhm.
one of those scenes where it's just like, what are you doing? Like focus on what you're supposed to be doing. Like you just
Yes.
let that guy out.
Yeah, I know. Just like he doesn't have a helmet, shoot him in the head. No.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's so much opportunity there. But yeah, and then but we see the cold fusion,
Right. Cold
whatever
fusion. Yeah.
that gives unlimited energy, and then it finishes with little Hank walking up
Yeah.
with the shot of New Vegas
Yeah.
off in the background, and then I'm gonna go on a little rant here.
Also, I do want to say in that same scene, we also see a Deathclaw skull, which was cool.
Oh,
As
the Death
as
Glow
he's,
skull,
as he's
yeah,
walking, yeah.
yeah. No Death Claws in the show, by the way, which I would like to
I hope
say I'm upset about.
I hope we get to see some in
I hope so
season
too.
two because they're like badass.
But what I see a lot of people saying is that
Hmm.
um the canon ending to New Vegas, what is
Mm.
it? People are assuming it's the ending where you nuke the NCR and
Okay.
New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why New Vegas, when it does the shot, it looks so desolate and empty.
Okay.
But my explanation is that those were video games. They had to really shrink down the scale for
Mm-hmm.
everything to fit on like the actual
Yeah.
game. Like you couldn't have everything like accurately sized.
Yeah.
But like with the show, you can accurately size everything. So like everything's gonna be a little bit spread out. It's not gonna look as compact and as like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like vibrant as it did in the games. It's gonna actually look realistic.
Yeah.
So there's that, but also the only reason Hank would have to go to Vegas
Right.
would be to meet up with Mr. House,
Yes.
who he obviously spoke to at the meeting. So the only reason he would go there would be meet with Mr. House. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
the canon ending to New Vegas, which I think is definitely the canon ending, is the Mr. House ending, where you
Mm-hmm.
deliver the platinum chip right to Mr. House, and he upgrades the Securitrons and takes over the strip.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah,
That's the only one that makes
it's
sense.
someone who has not played all of New Vegas. Yeah, I've no idea what you just said, but I'll take your word for it. No, no,
Yeah.
that makes sense because it seems like I feel like there was something mentioned where Hank wanted to go meet like his boss or something. Like not those words exactly, but he made it seem like he wanted Lucy to go with him or something. I don't remember honestly, but
Yeah, so I mean, Mr. House is one of the most powerful people in Fallout,
hmm
and in like within like he's not part of Vault-Tec, but within like the whole Vault-Tec like
right.
inner circle of like Big Mount or Big MT and like Robco and Vault-Tec.
Didn't Robco make the Pit Boys, or was that another?
Robco did make the Pip
Yeah,
Boys, yes.
that's right.
They
Yeah.
also created the robots, obviously too.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, so it's got to be Mr.
I
House.
mean,
Obviously, we'll
yeah,
probably be seeing more of him
that
in
makes
season
the
4.
most sense. And like some people were saying, like questioning why New Vegas doesn't look the same. Like it doesn't have all like the neon signs and all that stuff. And I guess Todd Howard came out and was talking about it and was basically saying like, it's been like a decade, like things change in cities
Yeah, I mean, like,
like
and
yeah.
even to that point, I could be wrong, and the Mr. House ending might not be canon, and it might
Mhm.
actually be like there's several different
Yeah,
endings to New Vegas. So whatever we see
right.
in the
The
show is
show.
gonna be what the final outcome of New Vegas was.
Yeah, I feel like we won't know for sure until
We
the
won't
show
know.
comes out, and I feel like that's gonna be like a big
And the show might not even confirm it. Like
true.
it has to. Like I feel like it has to in some way, but like it
Hmm.
might not. Like because there's different ways to end the
Yeah.
game without like you can still beat the game without killing Mr. House.
Hmm.
Like there's just like other ways. Like Mr. House could still be around, but like the NCR ended up taking over the New Vegas strip, or like Caesar's
Hmm.
Legion ended up taking over, but Mr. House is still in control of the strip, like
Right.
that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
what?
it doesn't make sense if you haven't played the games, but like
Yeah, but going back to what you said earlier, like who else would Hank be going to meet?
exactly.
Like it has to be like
Exactly.
one of the higher ups, either like a Vault Tech higher up or like Mr. House or something. So,
Yeah. That's the only
and
thing that makes sense.
why? And like if it's not Mr. House, who else would be in New Vegas? Like who else in
Exactly. That's
power
what
would
I'm
be
wondering
hanging out in New
too.
Vegas? So,
That's what I'm wondering.
and
Because if oh sorry.
I was gonna say this is gonna make me sound really stupid, but when they first showed New Vegas there, I'm just like, well, that seems important. And then, like, I didn't know it was New Vegas at first. I was just like, well, that definitely means something to people who know more about Fallout. And then as the credits rolled and you saw like they
Yeah, they
showed it
showed a
and
new
they showed
Vegas.
the New Vegas time, I was like, oh shit, it's New Vegas, But
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
recognize it just from like the view of it that Hank
Yeah,
saw.
I was super happy. I was
Mhm.
super happy.
Yeah, that's very cool. I wonder, like, I wonder how much of the next season is going to take place in New Vegas. I kind of hope that all of it would. It'd be really cool to just have like a New
Yeah.
Vegas centered season, or at
They
least
just don't
most
do
of
a
the season.
sequel. They're just like, we'll just give you the show instead.
Right? Yeah. Right. Exactly. That would be cool. And like, it's technically canon too, so it is kind of a
Yeah.
sequel to the game when you think about it.
I'm just like I said, I'm just really excited to find out what the
Hmm.
actual ending of New Vegas was.
Right.
And like I w- I would love because there's no prologue to Fallout New Vegas.
Hmm.
I would love to see what happened after. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's very cool. We'll also see more of like it seems like the ghoul is taking on less of a mercenary role and is more like he has a mission. He wants to find his
Yeah,
family. And I guess he needs Hank to do that.
yeah, and
And
I mean
then
he's super cool too.
Lucy's and he and Lucy are like actual partners now, you know,
Yeah,
which could be cool, but unfortunately Maximus was left behind and it seems like he might become a knight because his friend kind of hyped him up and was like, he killed what's her
yeah,
face,
yeah.
Maldaver. So I feel like by the time season 2 comes out, Maximus is going to be an actual knight, which
Mhm.
is interesting because he doesn't seem like he wants to be in the Brotherhood anymore. So I'm curious to
No,
see like what Maximus does. You know, if he ends up betraying the Brotherhood or staying with them, or yeah, I guess we'll see. But
yeah,
it's definitely like a major cliffhanger ending in a lot of ways and leaves so much open. Like some shows have like, well, this is an end. There could be more. This is like, yeah, the story's like half over at the most. There's still so much more to go over, which is
yeah,
cool, except it's going to be a long time before they come out with another season.
yeah.
Because like they dropped them all episodes one, and I mean, yeah, I think they started making the show like filming in like 2023, but I don't know if there's even any scripts done for season 2 or anything, so who
Who
knows how
knows?
long it's going to be. It'd be nice if it was
I mean,
next year,
I'm
but that's optimistic.
yeah, I'm glad they did confirm that there will be a season 2,
Yes. Apparently it
but
got
who knows?
renewed before it even came out. They were just
Oh,
kind of
really?
like, yeah, which that's the Amazon money for you. They're just like,
Yep.
we got the money,
Amazon has
throw it
only
at
put out
this.
great shows.
I mean, yeah, they have, yeah, they really
Like
do. I think they
Invincible.
they do a really good job investing in people who are gonna make a good product, make a good show.
I think they're good at adaptations.
That too. Trying to think what other things have they.
Invincible,
Yeah,
The
Invincible's
Boys.
good. Well, they do a very good job working with the creators. Like Bethesda had a major role in this
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
and
Todd
Robert
Howard.
Kirkman, the creator of Invincible, has a lot of say in the Invincible show and whatnot. I
Yeah.
think like outside of Prime, HBO did a really good job with The Last of Us because
Mhm.
they had like the actual game director and everybody like as one of the main producers of the show. So I mean,
Yeah.
it just kind of goes to show like, yeah, if you want a good adaptation of something, maybe like have the people who made it involved.
No, yeah.
this, this may be like a crazy idea, Hollywood, but yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I would say this is up there with one of the best like video game adaptations
I agree. I think it's
for
better than
sure.
The Last of Us.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I'm not sure because I haven't played enough Fallout to like be able to say,
Fair
but
enough. No, fair enough. I would
um
highly suggest playing them though.
yeah. Oh, I'm going to. I mean, I'm gonna download the update today for the
Yeah,
for
I
Fallout
actually tried
4.
it out. It's pretty. It's. I mean, like, if you're on PC, nothing's really changed that much
Sure.
except for like new content. But
Yeah.
if you're on console, it's a big upgrade.
I have it on Xbox Series X, so
Yeah, so
I'm
it should
really
be a
on
pretty
that.
big upgrade for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm planning on playing New Vegas as well. Um, so that'll be fun. Yeah, to kind of wrap things up, I kind of wanted to do like I don't know if you have anything in particular, but I like to do the craziest things I've seen on the internet lately, just to kind of wrap things up. So I actually have a couple videos to show you that are Fallout related. Let me share it. Yeah, it says new Fallout fans asking about New Vegas.
Malcolm, where have you been? You gotta get in on this.
Dad, I want.
Fallout New Vegas.
Son, you know once you start, there's no going back.
I know.
This means total commitment. Once you begin the path, there is no leaving the path.
Oh my
Sure you're
gosh.
ready for that? I mean, really ready?
I guess so.
Neat. We'll start tomorrow.
So there's that one, and then there's this other one that says New Vegas fans when it's not your favorite Fallout.
Okay. You see, I think Fallout New Vegas is a great game, but it's honestly not my favorite.
Oh no.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but...
So yeah, I don't. New Vegas is
the best,
your
man.
favorite. Yeah, yeah. Is that like
I don't. What?
I was gonna say, is that like a general consensus with most
That is a
Fallout
general
fans?
consensus, yeah. But I'm not a New Vegas fan that's just like nothing can beat it. I think
Sure.
every game has its own strengths, and I
Yeah.
do enjoy every Fallout. I love every Fallout. New Vegas is just my
Mhm.
personal favorite.
It's interesting too because it's kind of the outlier because it wasn't made by Bethesda directly, right? It was
Nope,
made.
it was actually made by a lot of the original creators of the
Mhm.
original games,
Right.
but
Okay.
Obsidian. And
Right.
Fallout 3 is really good. I really enjoy Fallout 3. Fallout
Mhm.
4, despite the hate it gets, I also enjoy. It's just not a.
Mhm.
It's just the one thing about
Not as
Fallout
good.
4 is the dialogue options. It's just
Oh.
like the yes is a yes, the no is also a yes. The sarcastic
Oh.
is sarcastic, and then the unsure is yes.
Yeah, that kind of it gives a false sense of choice.
Exactly,
That's
exactly. Because
fair.
it's really annoying. Because you will choose no.
Mhm.
You'll have four options. You'll have yes, no, unsure, or like maybe or something
Mhm.
like that. And you'll choose no, and it'll be like, nah, I don't think I can help you. And then the guy will say, I'll make it worth your time. I'll pay you 100 caps. And then you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that kind of defeats
And
the
you're like that.
purpose of. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into it enough to like notice that, but yeah, that's kind of stupid.
It is really
Uh,
stupid. Yeah, it's just the lack of like options when it comes to dialogue is really like noticeable between the games. It's
yeah.
just like there's like endless choices in like New Vegas and 3, but then once you get to 4, you only have 4 choices.
Well, that it was all 8 episodes of Fallout. Really good season. I really hope season 2 will be as good. Will be a great follow up, and I feel like I can already tell though, just with like the way the internet is and with this show, it's gonna piss people off. I feel like New Vegas fans like anything that isn't slightly
Oh
like,
yeah.
well, like even if they like say like an official ending for the game, people are gonna be like, well, that's not the best
We're gonna be
ending.
like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what's gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And
but
if it's the Mr. House ending, they're gonna be like, this was truly not the best choice for an independent Mojave wasteland. He should have gone with Yes Man. I think Yes Man was the better choice. Just like,
yeah, you can't please everybody. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the general consensus though of this show is that it's really good from like both fans and not fans. You know, there's definitely some people complaining, but I honestly haven't really seen that much, to be honest. But I haven't really delved deep into the Fallout fan base on the internet. So,
yeah.
but yeah, really good show. Hope the next season's really good. Thanks so much for being on, man.
No problem, man. I'm glad to be here. I love talking about Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely the person that knows the most about Fallout that I know. I think I have like a couple friends who know some stuff, but like I have one friend who went to like Comic-Con dressed as a vault dweller. Like, well,
Oh,
I
that's
guess
awesome.
trying to think if he was supposed to be like Vault Boy or not, but yeah, that was pretty funny. But so yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And be sure to check out our other podcast episodes. If you'd like to see more content, check out our socials. And if you'd like to see more comic-centered content, check out our comic book review show, The Cultured Pull List. All those links will be in the description.